Alright guys, so it's been a minute since I just sat down and talked to you guys about certain things in the game, but in this specific video, yes, you probably already know by the title, I'm going to be talking about meta. Now, meta is a word that's thrown around and some people may not understand it, although most probably do. And in Grand Cross, there's a lot of teams, or maybe not a lot of teams, but there's quite a few teams that can be considered meta. And for those who don't know, meta is literally just a strategy or a specific setup that works best for, a gaming community. For example, in Call of Duty, there could be a gun that is considered meta versus other guns. In this game, there are teams that are considered meta since it's a PvP based game, right? So out of all of these units that we have in game, right, all of them, and I mean all of them, not even half are used in PvP. I wouldn't even go, I would say maybe a quarter of these units are used in PvP, right? Not even half, because when's the last time anybody has used like Rugal or I don't know, Blue King, like Meliodas, the Demon Melies? Like, not a lot of these units are touched, and that's simply because they can't compete with the meta. They literally have no way of competing with the meta. Like, you're not gonna run Red freaking Monspeed, who's one of the worst SSRs in the game, or at least contender for one of the worst SSRs in the game. He has no place. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna hit him with a fireball that does no damage? Like, what? Or you're gonna hit him with a AoE weak point when you need to proc his ultimate in order for, or have a unit that has debuffs to proc his weak point? Like, you're not going to run him, right? He has no way of keeping up with a unit like Bond. There's no way, no actual way he can keep up. Or like Red King, legit he was only used for the Pierce meta. He was literally only used for the Pierce meta. So, metas are really, really heavy in PvP based games, which Grand Cross is. There's no way you can sit here and say, well, Grand Cross isn't really PvP based. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We have units like Chandler, for example, that have passives that are literally locked only to PvP. So what does that tell you? He's a PvP based character. Of course, he can be used in PvE with his full counter, but his overall thing is to be used in PvP, right? That's his overall usage. I'm not saying he's only good for PvP. I'm just saying he's pretty much built for PvP, right? So there you go. Another example is Ludociel. Ludociel has barely any usage in PvE. I don't even know if people use him for PvE content. Maybe if you're a newer player with like at a lower rank or something like that, who doesn't have a lot of characters, maybe, but his passive is for PvP. Like, defense related stats of enemies with lower CC than him by 40%. Come on now, it says PvP. So that is what, units in this game, some are based around PvP, some can be used in PvP and PvE. Like, for example, the one Escanor. Bond can be, but Bond is literally like just like people pretty much only really use him for PvP. You can use, I don't know, Lolly Merlin for PvE. You could use Elizabeth, Green Gother. Like, there are some units that have mixed usage, right? It's not like they are just specifically for that. However, there are units that are, right? So if we go look, I set up, these teams in Brawl. I'm not using them for Brawl. I don't really care for this mode at all, but I wanted to show you guys. So here's the number one. You could replace Easton with the one Escanor, I guess. I don't know why people do that, but whatever. You could replace Easton with the one, and that could be your version of this team. This team is meta. This team with Bond, Arthur, and Twigo, right? This team is meta. Now, yes, these, this third unit is interchangeable. You could put, I don't know, the one Escanor. I mean, I see why they do, but I think Red Easton's pretty much like Bond's like best support besides Arthur. So this team is number one meta, and that's for a reason, because Bond is a monster. Like, Bond is an absolute beast. He's insane. Like, if you support him with max HP, he's he's literally indestructible. Like, he's almost damn near immortal unless you get really, really lucky with stuns on him, you know, crits on him, because his crit resistance is literally 100%. So you critting him is not going to happen a lot unless you're running, I don't know, Green Gulther or Ladociel. But even then, it's kind of like you have a chance of not critting, you know what I mean? So pretty much the only counter team that I've seen that pretty much works like either turn 1 or turn 2 is the Ludo, Gulther, and Escanor strat. That's the only team I've seen that kills him in like turn 1 or 2. You could use Unknown with Amelia to freeze him, but that's just prolonging, you know what I mean? That's literally prolonging until you get Amelia's ult, which, by the way, is pretty much only useful at 4 out of 6 and higher, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so that's he's a monster. He's like generally genuinely just indestructible. Like, once he's fully built, yeah, you're gonna have a problem. But this is the main team. Again, this is meta, right? This is meta. This is the most effective in PvP. It's literally the most effective strat to use in PvP because this team is just so strong, right? This team is literally strong as shit. So there's no way that you can sit here and tell me that this isn't meta, right? It's meta. It's meta. So we go to the second team. The second team I have here is the second most used team in the meta. Used to be first, but until Bond came out, like, you still do see this. I would say actually you see this team as much as you probably, maybe even more than you see Bond. But this team I would say is like second meta, right? The second meta team, because people know how to counter this. People already know how to counter this team. It's not good. Like, people think, oh my god, I can cheese wins, which you can. I'm not gonna sit here and say you can't, but it's really just genuinely just not good. It's not. It's not good in my opinion. When I say not good, I just mean it's not really all that, right? I mean, I guess you could say it's cohesive in PvP, but really, to run this, you're just trying to cheese wins. You're not really playing the game. You're just trying to cheese wins, right? So you face a fully built up team with Bond and you use this team, there's a chance you lose. You pretty much have to always use a Gulther Dissolve, like, always. Like, there's no ands or buts about it. You have to use a Gulther Dissolve to keep Bond from getting his ult. That's it. And if they run Easton, you're dead. You're done. Because Easton cleanses. So what are you going to do? You're going to do nothing. That's what it is. You're going to do nothing. And having Lost Main in the back doesn't help at all. Because this team, I literally seen this team take a 6 out of 6 Lost Main by himself. Yeah, so Lost Main he's just garbage. But this is probably, I would say, probably the second team in the meta that people use a lot, just because you can cheese wins and it's very effective. Or I wouldn't even say very effective. I would say it is semi-effective against this team when you have good RNG, right? When you have good RNG, it's semi-effective against that team. So this is probably the second most meta team. This one, it's a little strange because Assault Mode isn't really, I wouldn't consider him meta, quote unquote. I would just consider him to be I would say a very strong setup, because if this team goes up against this one, you're gonna have a really big problem, because Assault Mode is nasty, man. You know, top of the fact that you got Zeldris just blocking your ults, like, this team is very cohesive. It has very nice synergy. I like it a lot. I really do. And when Sigurd comes out, it's going to be even better. Keep that in mind, right? Because you could run Chandler on the back or something like that and keep Sigurd here. So it's going to be very good. But again, I wouldn't consider it meta. I would just consider it to be, you know, strong, cohesive. If you wanted to use this team, you could. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to get ass blasted by this team. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You could literally block Bond's detonate with Chandler's Dragon Claw, and you're still gonna get ass blasted. You stand no chance. It's sad to say, because I love this team. I literally love this team so much, but I can't use it. I can't use it with Bond coming around. Like, just no point. There's literally no point. But Yeah, so these are like I would say pretty much the most common teams. Like again, there's different variations of this team. Like you might see Droll, you could see Chandler and Droll, you could see Zeldris and Melaskula. Like there's just different combinations people use with Assault Melee. But I would say that you do see the unknown meta. You kind of see that here and there, but I wouldn't say it's common that you see it, because you'd have to use Lolly Merlin, right? First you'd have to have her. You have to have Lolly Merlin. She's good. She is good, but she gets destroyed by that team. You'd have to have, where is she? I don't even think I worked on Amelia. I actually don't think I worked on Amelia. Well, either way, you'd have to have Goddess Elizabeth, right? And most people already have her duped out and like high duped and everything. So you have to have Goddess Elizabeth. And then here's the main problem: you have to have Amelia, and to do that, you needed to have started when Amelia dropped. And if you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. Or if you didn't pull her, like, big Sag, but there's nothing you can do about it, because she's probably not going to come back for a while if she does return, right? So you have to have her, and the problem with her is that you have to have a really good dupe like level for her. Otherwise, it's not going to hit hard against Bond. It's just not. Like, I don't care what you say, it's not going to hit hard. I would say, again, like I said, 4 out of 6, your best bet against Bond teams with her ult, then you're looking good, right? Then at least you're like, okay, maybe I can win, because she has pretty decent crit chance for not being a crit based unit, but Bond has 100% crit resistance, so you critting him probably not gonna happen. So you gotta bank on the damage, right? You gotta bank on the damage of the base multiplier and then the extra multiplier secret technique. So you're gonna have to hope and pray, if you have her 4 out of 6, that you do really good damage, which you should. To be fair, you should if you have a lot of cards in hand. But if it's 6 out of 6, you're gonna do good damage. You're actually gonna do pretty good damage, because she has type advantage over Bond. So keep that in mind. But yeah, like I said, more than half of these units aren't even used in the game, like at all. Like at all. So keep that in mind when working on units. Again, there, maybe, like, I will say a good number of units are used outside of PvP for PvE stuff, but it's not a lot. It's not as much as you might think. So yeah, but for PvP, literally not more than half of these units aren't even touched. Like, it's a shame, but you could have all of these units that I have, like level 80, a majority of them at level 1 SSR. All you really need is like boom, boom, right? I would say Red Easton, right? So like boom, boom. I don't even know about Lost Fame, but he's pretty good in PvE. So boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. And then from there, it just gets iffy. Like, it gets iffy. Saria, of course, it just starts. You start getting lower, and you're like, do I really need Red Deanne? Like, do I really need her? Maybe for reverse stages, but that's it. So I just wanted to make this quick little video going over like meta, what the teams are looking like, and what meta is exactly for those who might not know. But yeah, so these 3 teams, man, these 3 teams are pretty much what's in the meta. Again, maybe not this team as much, but they are still strong and cohesive. So there you go. But if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a thumbs up for the algorithm. Comment below what team you use in PvP that you consider to be really good, or if you use any of the meta teams, which meta team do you use? And you guys already know, as always, I will see you all next time.